Why is it that nobody warns us about the dangers of being too kind? Kindness is a virtue, but when it consumes us, it can transform into a vice. Excessive kindness can lead us to lose our sense of self, blur our boundaries, and neglect our own priorities. It can make us vulnerable to manipulation, exploitation, and abuse. It can cause us to overlook our own happiness, health, and goals, potentially leading to resentment and unhappiness. Kindness, while beautiful, needs to be balanced with respect, wisdom, and self-care. Otherwise, it can ruin our lives. Let's explore this intriguing paradox and understand how to strike the right balance in our lives. 1. The expectation trap. When we engage in acts of kindness, a hidden expectation of reciprocation often lurks beneath the surface, creating a subtle yet significant contradiction to the Stoic principle of detached benevolence. Stoicism, with its emphasis on selflessness, teaches the art of giving purely from the heart, devoid of any anticipation of receiving something in return. This philosophy underscores the value of actions performed for their own sake, not as part of an unspoken barter system. However, societal norms frequently impose a transactional view on acts of kindness, subtly transforming genuine generosity into a reciprocal expectation. This mindset shift from selfless giving to an anticipation of return, whether conscious or unconscious, not only undermines the authenticity of our actions but also creates a psychological imbalance. It challenges the very essence of Stoicism, which is to find contentment and virtue in the act of giving itself, not in the potential rewards it might bring. This expectation trap ensnares us in a cycle where kindness is no longer about altruism, but a veiled investment in personal gain, contradicting the Stoic pursuit of virtue through true selflessness. 2. The peril of eternal support. Constant availability to others, often seen as a hallmark of kindness, harbors a less discussed risk: the transformation into an ever-reliable yet ultimately depleted resource. This scenario, dubbed the peril of eternal support, highlights a significant pitfall in the realm of altruism. While the act of incessantly offering support might stem from a genuine desire to help, it inadvertently leads to being perceived as an unending source of aid. This perception not only burdens the giver with unrealistic expectations, but also paves the way for personal neglect, particularly in mental and emotional health. In the pursuit of supporting others, one's own needs often become secondary, leading to a gradual erosion of well-being. Such self-neglect, though subtle at first, can accumulate over time, resulting in burnout and a diminished capacity to help others effectively. This situation starkly contrasts with the Stoic emphasis on self-care and balance, underscoring the importance of setting boundaries and nurturing one's own mental and emotional health as a priority, not an afterthought. 3. Sacrificing personal goals. Consistently prioritizing the needs of others over one's own ambitions often leads to a frustrating paradox in personal development, particularly from a Stoic perspective. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-improvement and the pursuit of personal virtues. However, when an individual constantly places others' needs first, their own goals and aspirations risk being sidelined. This self-sacrifice, while noble in intent, can lead to a stagnation in personal growth. The individual becomes so engrossed in fulfilling the desires and solving the problems of others that their own objectives remain unattended. This situation not only hampers personal development, but also breeds a sense of unfulfillment and frustration. Over time, this can create a sense of loss of personal identity and direction, as one's own dreams and ambitions become blurred in the relentless service of others. Such a scenario starkly contrasts with the Stoic ideal of personal growth and development, highlighting a critical need for balance between altruism and self-fulfillment. 4. The misinterpretation of generosity. In a world that often equates self-assurance with self-interest, constant selflessness can be misinterpreted as a sign of vulnerability or a lack of ambition. This misreading challenges the Stoic ideals of strength and assuredness. When an individual constantly puts others first, it can be perceived not as a noble trait, but rather as a lack of personal boundaries or aspirations. This perception can lead to a devaluation of the individual's contributions and abilities, as constant generosity is sometimes seen as an absence of personal goals and self-respect. Moreover, such relentless altruism can attract those who take advantage of this perceived weakness, further complicating the individual's social dynamics. This situation not only undermines the respect and authority one might command, but also contradicts the Stoic principle of possessing inner strength and a clear sense of self. The challenge lies in striking a balance between benevolence and self-empowerment, ensuring that generosity is a choice stemming from strength, not a compulsion viewed as a weakness. 5. Attracting energy vampires. Excessive kindness, while often seen as a virtue, can inadvertently become a magnet for individuals who specialize in draining others' emotional and energy resources. These energy vampires are adept at identifying and exploiting the generosity of those around them, often leaving a trail of emotional exhaustion in their wake. When you are overly accommodating, continuously extending your support and compassion, it can signal to these individuals an opportunity to take advantage. They often demand attention and assistance, disproportionately drawing upon your resources without offering anything in return. This one-sided dynamic can leave you feeling depleted and overwhelmed, compromising your ability to maintain a healthy emotional state. What's more, the constant drain on your resources can prevent you from attending to your own needs and responsibilities. The key challenge here is learning to recognize when your kindness is being exploited and developing the courage to set healthy boundaries. This doesn't mean abandoning compassion, but rather ensuring it is directed in a way that is also respectful of your own well-being. 6. The burnout of constant giving. The relentless pursuit of unceasing generosity can lead to a profound state of burnout, where emotional exhaustion becomes a constant companion. This burnout manifests when the balance between giving and receiving is disrupted, tipping overwhelmingly towards constant output without adequate replenishment. In this state, the reservoirs of empathy and compassion that fuel generous acts begin to deplete, leaving a sense of emptiness and fatigue. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-awareness and resilience, advocates for introspection and self-care as essential tools in managing this imbalance. The philosophy encourages us to understand our limits and recognize the importance of refueling our emotional and mental energy. It is a reminder that the act of giving must be sustainable, not a relentless marathon without a finishing line. By practicing Stoic principles of self-care and reflection, one can maintain a healthy equilibrium, ensuring that generosity stems from a place of strength and abundance, rather than leading to an emotional deficit and exhaustion. 7. Vulnerability to external dependencies. Neglecting self-care in the pursuit of perpetual altruism can lead to an increased vulnerability to external dependencies as a form of relief. When individuals continuously ignore their own needs, the mounting stress and emotional fatigue often seek an outlet. Unfortunately, this can manifest in the form of unhealthy coping mechanisms or vices, such as excessive indulgence in food, alcohol, or even mindless digital consumption. These external dependencies are sought as quick fixes to alleviate the mounting internal pressures. This pattern stands in stark contrast to Stoic values, which emphasize inner resilience and the cultivation of personal virtues as means of confronting life's challenges. Stoicism teaches the importance of facing difficulties with a balanced and reflective approach, rather than seeking escape in temporary and often harmful external solutions. By failing to prioritize self-care and introspection, one risks falling into a cycle where external dependencies become a crutch, undermining the Stoic principle of drawing strength and contentment from within oneself. 8. Misunderstood intentions. Relentless kindness, while inherently virtuous, can sometimes be misinterpreted as having ulterior motives. In a world where skepticism often runs high, continuous acts of selflessness can paradoxically lead to doubts about one's true intentions. People might question whether such consistent generosity is a facade for personal gain, manipulation, or a strategy to win favor. This suspicion can undermine the genuine intentions of the giver, casting a shadow of doubt over what is meant to be pure and selfless. Stoicism, on the other hand, teaches the importance of authenticity and acting with integrity, regardless of external judgments or misinterpretations. It emphasizes the value of being true to oneself and one's virtues, even in the face of misunderstanding. This disconnect between the perception of relentless kindness and Stoic authenticity presents a unique challenge: how to remain steadfast in one's altruistic values without succumbing to the cynicism or misconceptions of others, and continuing to act in a way that aligns with one's core principles. 9. Losing yourself in service. Constant giving, when done without self-reflection, can lead to a gradual erosion of personal identity, a concept that stands in stark contrast to the Stoic belief in maintaining self-awareness and core values. When one's life becomes solely about serving others, there's a risk of losing touch with one's own desires, goals, and values. This imbalance can create a sense of being adrift, untethered from the personal anchors that define who we are. Stoicism teaches the importance of knowing oneself and staying true to one's principles, but in the ceaseless endeavor to help others, these principles can become blurred. The individual might start to define themselves only through the lens of their service to others, overlooking their own unique attributes and aspirations. This shift not only undermines the rich tapestry of one's personal identity, but also contradicts the Stoic emphasis on the development of self. It highlights the need for a balanced approach to altruism, one that includes time for introspection, ensuring that in the noble act of giving, one does not lose sight of themselves. 10. Financial imbalance through overgiving. Financial generosity, while a noble gesture, can lead to precarious situations when it extends beyond one's means. The impulse to give, driven by a desire to help and support others, often overlooks the critical balance necessary for one's financial stability. This overgiving can create a ripple effect, not only impacting the giver's immediate financial situation, but also leading to long-term stress and anxiety. As accounts dwindle and debts potentially rise, the initial satisfaction of generosity gives way to the harsh reality of financial insecurity. This situation is particularly concerning as it not only affects the individual, but can also extend to their family or dependents. The stress of financial instability can strain personal relationships, diminish quality of life, and create a sense of hopelessness. Such outcomes starkly contrast the principles of thoughtful giving, where the intention is to support others without compromising one's own well-being. It's essential to find a balance between the desire to help others and the practicality of one's financial limitations, ensuring that acts of kindness don't inadvertently lead to self-harm. 11. The compromise of decision-making. Excessive kindness can sometimes lead to a compromise in decision-making, where one's judgment is clouded by the desire to prioritize others' needs and wants. This inclination to always put others first can result in decisions that are not in one's best interest or aligned with personal values. Such a pattern of decision-making often leads to a gradual distancing from Stoic rationality, which emphasizes the importance of logic and personal ethics in choices and actions. When decisions are constantly made with the primary aim of pleasing or aiding others, there's a risk of neglecting one's own rational thought processes and principles. This can lead to a feeling of disconnection from one's own needs and values, and in the long term, may result in resentment and a sense of loss of self. It's crucial to balance kindness and consideration for others with self-awareness and adherence to one's inner moral compass, ensuring that decisions are made in a way that respects both oneself and others. 12. Neglecting reciprocal relationships. Unidirectional giving, where one party constantly provides support without receiving anything in return, can lead to significantly unbalanced relationships. This imbalance is not just about the tangible aspects of give and take, but also encompasses emotional support, understanding, and mutual respect. In such dynamics, the giver often finds themselves perpetually drained, both emotionally and sometimes materially, without the replenishing experience of reciprocal care and appreciation. This kind of relationship dynamic is at odds with the Stoic ideal of balanced interpersonal interactions, where mutual respect and support are fundamental. Continuous one-sided giving can foster a sense of being undervalued and taken for granted, leading to a relationship that is neither fulfilling nor sustainable. The Stoic approach would advocate for a more balanced exchange, recognizing the importance of both giving and receiving in healthy relationships. It emphasizes the need to cultivate relationships where both parties contribute and benefit, fostering a sense of mutual growth and respect. As we conclude on the Stoicist, remember that true kindness is balanced with self-respect and wisdom. Thank you for joining us in exploring this vital topic. If you've enjoyed this video and want more insights, don't forget to subscribe to the Stoicist. Your support helps us continue bringing thoughtful content your way.